Welcome back, everyone. I know we've been away for a few weeks, and I always wanted to have one out every Friday, but through the Christmas holidays, we fell behind. I fell behind. Editing is hard, but welcome to a new episode of Rama 2.0. We're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff, but let's keep on going. Try and get out with everyone on Friday. We got a new one coming up next week. Outside that, I want everybody to know that I'm going to do my best and try keeping it going. And please feel free to contact us either on Raging Imagination Facebook or Instagram, or else you can find us. You can contact us at ragingimagination.com. And of course, all the regular streaming devices. Share with your friends. Let us know what you find interesting about us and all that sort of thing. We're having a blast learning new things. So cheers, everyone.
Harmoniously and shared our stories and our faiths and our I shouldn't say our because I was not there.
But that's actually the consensus.
So what happened in North America? The rhetorical question that is not meant to be answered.
You told me what happened in North America, and it was not all very pretty.
So, yeah, we could live in this era, but let's. I want to fast forward a little bit. We're going to jump up a little modern times. I met Rama because she was part of the production, the Tricks and Treats production we had at the Bailey. And throughout all this, Rama and I sat down and we started talking about, I don't know what started. I think I asked about your scarf.
Yeah.
And it's always curious because we have, oh geez, I can't remember all the names. You have the hijabi?
Yeah, hijab.
Hijab?
Yeah.
And you call it a scarf.
Yeah.
In the males, we got turbans and we got all that stuff. Yeah. And then that.
There's a niqab, there's a burqa, there's.
Burqa, that's the other one. Yeah, it's just and I found it fascinating. But then me and Rama just sat there and we branched out into this whole world of cultural relatability and in questions, and I more than anything I'm curious, and it's always wonderful for me when I can look at somebody of a different culture, of a different faith and everything else, and ask the questions we always want to ask.
Yeah.
Is like, why can't I see your hair?
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff. So there's the setup. See how it goes? No, just kidding. So we jump ahead. Let's jump ahead to your move to Canada.
Right.
Why and where and how? Let's give the cliff notes.
Okay, so really quick, I just wanted to study here. I've always admired Canada. I loved it, and I've always looked forward to being abroad, not for anything, but I really wanted to make mistakes
I know a couple broads
on my own. Mike.
I know.
Dude.
Hey, I have to.
Number 4. Insert microphone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I'm a Gen Xer, okay. Anyway.
I just wanted to come here, and out of all North America, I mean, it was Canada, Mexico, and then the US.
I was going to ask why not United States, and honestly too. I mean, U.S. offers a lot. The dream, the American dream, and what.
I don't buy the American dream.
I don't either, but
Yeah, so that's right. I really don't.
Or is it a nightmare?
It depends.
That's what you're asking.
I think it was a dream. It was a dream.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a dream, and
it's just they're selling that dream, and I'm not one of the target audience. I don't think.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want me to be one of the target audience. You know what I mean?
That's such a fascinating top subject. I was having an argument today online about who the audience is and who do you want where, and we're living in this world of divisive whatever. Everybody's Trump. With the whole Trump thing going down there, that's divided. We got our own little Trump thing with Poilievre and Trudeau, and it's just like, is this all over the world too?
Probably. I would assume so.
I mean, are we in this world where we've, as human race, created this divide slowly over time and created that this faith can no longer get along with that faith? They have to be wrong.
I'll tell you this. When it comes to faith, I treat it, or any belief system, I treat it like anything else that is used as a token. So I use the example of a phone, even though that's very shallow, but just to make it easier to understand. A phone was made to make a call, to make a connection, right? It serves a purpose to the individual and to the community.
Yeah.
However, if I throw my phone at somebody, that is my fault for using the phone in a way that it wasn't meant to be used when it was made.
I absolutely love that analogy.
When somebody, so faith by itself I believe, is a beautiful thing. It brings inner peace to somebody. It brings a community together, and it really does tie people together. Even if they're not from the same faith, but they believe in something. And it opens up conversations, and it opens up that understanding, and it makes people, for me, my biggest one is self-discipline. Mm-hmm. Somebody doesn't need faith to have self-discipline. I do need it. I want something that reminds me, which ties back to my hijab. My hijab is a simple, or my scarf that I wear is and modesty in general is a symbol of something that whenever I'm outside, I always have a reminder that, oh, you're about to do something you're gonna regret, but something stopped you. And it's just me looking in the mirror being like, okay.
I got like 4 things I'd like to say, but I'll try to reverse backwards.
But the point of that is that just the misuse of faith to justify anything at all that is violent or let's say bad in simpler terms is not the fault of the faith. No. And that goes to every faith possible.
Every faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or belief system.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I probably know the least about indigenous faiths.
Mm-hmm. I'm still learning.
Yeah. I got friends that are very deep into that. Right. Bill, he's half indigenous and whatever, and he's always trying to get me to go to the Sweat Lodge. I really want to, but part of me is a little scared. Because I grew up in Rocky, which is in the middle of three reservations, and growing up back then, it was not always as pretty and beautiful as the stories and the movies can make it.
It's quite an honor to be invited to a sweat lodge.
No, I have no doubt.
What is?
Basically, they dig, depending on who does it. They dig like a little hole into the ground, and then they build kind of rocks, and you crawl into the hole, and you have to go in a certain way to get to your spot. Okay. And then they take really, really hot rocks and put them in there, and you essentially sweat, and they have...
it's the original sauna.
Yeah, they have sweetgrass, and you're supposed to experience... like the ancestors will do like almost like prayers over you, and
sage as well.
It's to like cleanse your spirit and grow. Yeah, it's to cleanse the spirit.
I was once last year by an elder indigenous person with sage. Yeah. And honestly, I felt great like doing it. Yeah. Just in general, but I didn't know.
But like you can't wear any metal. Okay. You can't. Women can't be anywhere near their period. Right. Because it can. Well, unless
there's a couple of reasons for that. Yeah. The metal part. I mean, I'm not going to speak on women. That's just ridiculous.
Because they believe that the women is too powerful.
Yeah, because like the moon cycle and the sun cycle don't mix. So men are of the sun cycle, women are of the moon cycle.
Which is true.
Yeah. And so if the woman is during her period, she is going to really mess with the sun cycle because she's very strong.
Yeah. And so when does it happen?
It's whenever it's offered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's not a set time.
It's not.
No, it's like someone could be like, hey, I'm setting up a sweat lodge. I invite you. Please come to the sweat lodge and
And inviting somebody, what does it require to be invited?
To be invited, it's whoever has the sweat, like there's sweat lodge, it's on their land, and they want to invite people that they believe will strengthen up their spirit.
Okay.
From what I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, let's go back. I'm going to try and remember all this, but there's only a couple key ones. So to backtrack, the first thing that I can remember, so the hijab or the burqa or the scarf, all these things are a symbol towards modesty.
Yes.
That is the key element to wearing it.
The key element, which I think we were all, for a while, all nervous to say that, or like hesitant to say that, is to worship. That is the key point. The key element is, okay, this is a sign of worship, and just like prayer, I'm going to do it, But the worldly key element of that, it is modesty.
Okay, and that's my
and bodily autonomy.
Okay, and that's where I'm trying to find my understanding. So, so if we call it an element or a symbolic to modesty.
Yeah.
So it is from religion.
Yeah.
And then you taking that as a symbol of modesty. So you don't show your hair.
And modesty doesn't have to mean not only not show your hair. I have a family member. Actually, I have less family members wearing the scarf than those who are not wearing the scarf. It does come to a choice towards the end, just like if you choose to pray or not to pray, if you choose to fast Ramadan or not to fast that month.
A Christian would decide to wear a cross.
Or not wear. Exactly.
And it's not.
And it is, and wearing the cross, just like wearing the hijab, it is a symbol of constant worshiping. So whenever I'm wearing it, I am in constant state of worship.
Okay.
And I use it like that, and I use it even more as, again, self-discipline. And you mentioned something about hair.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Well, I want to cover my other little things.
Yeah.
We'll get into that because I think that's a good segue too. I think it's called straw man. I'm gonna tell you what you told me in my words to make sure I understand.
Okay.
And it's meant with respect. So wearing the burqa or the scarf is you're in a constant state of faith or
Of worship.
Of worship. So in my mind, that is it's that constant reminder.
Absolutely.
Of awareness. So
Reminder.
it's your choice. This represents my awareness of my faith at all times, and that should not be shattered or whatever. So, okay.
I'll tell you that. So when I was 18, I wore it when I was 17. When I was 18, it's been a couple of months since I was here, and I was a first year. It was a lot was happening and stuff like that, and I was struggling with it. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It is a struggle, which is why I say it is self-discipline. At least for me, to each, somebody can struggle with prayer. Somebody can struggle with fasting. Somebody can struggle with giving to the needy. But that was one of my struggles, is that I knew I was beautiful. And at some point, I really was struggling to wanting to show that and flaunt. And another part of me was really just trying to be like, how are you going to feel after? When you're by yourself in your room and you go back after you've shown, how are you going to feel then? Are you going to be proud? Did you want to do that permanently? Because I can take it off. I could say I want to take it off right now. Yeah.
You can, but would you? Like that's.
I don't think, and I thought about it so much, and I would come every time I'm looking at myself in the mirror where I'm like, if I could just one moment show everybody how it is. And I think that really, really is so strong for me to stand in front of a mirror and be like, I could do it right now, but do I want to?
Okay.
I have just a quick question. What age did you start covering or
wearing it. So I wore it when I was 17.
I guess 17.
Recommended?
Or
recommended
because I was just thinking, I don't know, like I just remember watching the show Little Mosque on the Prairie, and the one girl got her period, and then she was supposed to start wearing a wrap or something.
It depends.
It's TV.
Yeah.
So I don't know how factual that is.
So when we hit puberty, whether that was boys or girls, that's when you become responsible.
Okay.
Over what actions or like over decisions that you make when it comes to faith.
Yeah.
So you want to try and approach it with, okay, I'm gonna try and pray more, or I'm gonna try and do this more and stuff like that. And it depends how you're raised. It depends also on the different sects of Islam, just like different like sects of Christianity, which different practices come from different things. So
I was just
curious. That is reality to many.
Okay.
But there's also another reality to many as well.
Yes.
Which is not everybody.
Yeah. So it becomes the choice.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool.
That's interesting. I'm going to abandon some of my other thoughts because they're gone now. One thing I will say, you were using I love that analogy about faith, religions it's a tool. Mm-hmm. It's a tool to be used as you see fit to make you a better person or if you need it. Anyway, that was a little bit. Cut that over, throw that over there.
Style.
It is, and I mean every facet of every religion or lack of thereof. I mean, there's 3,000 basic religions on the planet and all that sort of thing and whatever. So we were getting into that. So there was a big question. Right now there's a lot of consent, age of consent. When do we allow kids to drink? When do we allow kids to get piercings, to vote, to all that stuff? And you would use the term that you start wearing it when you become responsible. Now that's when it
females. Comes to faith. No, and male.
Well, when to male? Puberty. Right. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah.
I was singular focus. So puberty says you become responsible, theoretically.
Again, faith is a lifestyle for me, at least, or for many practicing Muslims. Yeah. Because it is very inclusive. It delves into into the details of everyday life. Yeah. And it brings structure into the personal and the lives of communities. But anyways, when it comes to kids, they are not strangers. You don't hit them they're not stranger to this faith that you're introducing them to. They're, not the second they hit puberty, you're like, oh, did you know about this?
Oh, yeah. No.
They've been exposed to prayers together. They've been exposed to Ramadans and breaking fast together. They've been exposed to the Eid celebrations that come after Ramadan. And then 2 months later, it's a lot of community things that, and teachings and stuff like that. And then when they hit puberty is when you're like, okay, so now I'm no longer responsible if you pray or not. It is on you to decide that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it comes from that perspective. It's not about them being fully adults. It's about them taking that, a 12 or a 13-year-old taking that, because they're not going to listen to their parents anymore. Let's talk about teenagers. They're not going to, if a dad goes into, their kid's room and is like, do you want to, let's go to the prayer right now. Or like, let's pray and stuff. Do you think a teenager is going to be like, yes, let's go? No, it becomes that choice where I can't force you to follow that. It is on you now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to backtrack here a little bit, and I'm going to give you my perspective, what I did with Logan, because I am, we'll say, agnostic, because I don't know and I don't believe in per se. I have all the respect for anybody, and like you say, you take guidance from something else. But when I raised Logan, we did a lot of the same things in a different fashion. For me, the community was through theater with Logan, and the more stories we read, and we went that in we'll say a less structured world. But we did the same type things, and sorry, I felt like that was a look. Oh my God. Oh, are you insane? No, sorry. That's Kayleen. She's giving me a look. Felt like Kathy was here. Oh, sorry. I misread, which is very normal of me too. So anyway, and listening to all that stuff, and then as we always treated Logan, my son, when you're old enough to ask the question, you're old enough to get the answer.
Yeah.
And we never skirted past. If he wanted to know what sex was at a certain age, it's like, well, we'll give him the full question without the videos, kind of, and that sort of thing. We'll give him the truth and the fact and all that stuff.
It's like some Christianity too. They decide what age they decide to be baptized. It'd be kind of
It's kind of
because like I'm Catholic, which is really odd for some Indigenous people. All that fun stuff. But like you get baptized as a baby, and then you have your first communion at the age of like 8, and then later on you get confirmed, and then you're like, yes, I will be an adult member of the church.
I'm glad you said that.
I've attended many baptisms in Syria for my friends when I was about 11 or 10 and stuff like that, where they would go and get baptized, or their newborn sister, brother would get baptized and stuff like that. And it was always something really, I don't know. I love faith.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm not trying to be rude, I think that's backwards. I think, because what we're doing is we're indoctrinating our children by they're going to believe whatever we tell them, and then we're giving them a choice to not believe later on. Where I always encourage Logan, it's just like, we're not going to give you our beliefs, an hour, whatever, but we're going to inform you of what's out there. And then you have a choice when you're of conscious and mature of mind to say, there's something missing in my life, I need to find it. And that's
Can I take
belief.
that? Can I take that first?
Yeah.
I do. No. I do understand that completely. And I wasn't always religious. I wasn't religious growing up, to be honest. I was very opposing to the hijab.
Yeah.
I didn't pray. And I couldn't connect the way I thought I was supposed to. And for a while, when I was 16 to 17, I questioned that a lot, and I wanted to read what's out there. And I already read a lot about Christianity, and I read Old Testament, New Testament, in Arabic and English. I read a little bit about the Torah. It's just Jewish faith have a lot of other books and stuff like that. It's so it was a bit more complicated to get into that. I read about Buddhism. It was a lot of things, and I got to Darwinism towards the end. Yeah. And since I do believe in evolution, and I am a very scientific person, I really was not religious at all. Yeah. And then I got to a point where I wanted to learn about, so I looked at that and I was like, I learned about many faiths and I read many books with an open mind and understanding, but I didn't do that to mine. Mm-hmm. I didn't do that to mine. And it really was I was stranger to the Islam. Yeah. I was a stranger.
Your book is the Quran?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I decided to just learn more about it. And it was honestly because one of my friends challenged me by asking questions about what I believed in and stuff like that. And I respect anybody who decides what they believe in and they stand their ground and they know what they believe in. With an open mind as well to changing that whenever they want. But I'll tell you that I was lucky enough to have this space, and I was very grateful to have this space to do that within my family because they've encouraged me to think. They've encouraged me to do all of that. They've never shoved anything down without me asking the question, and they would encourage asking those questions. And my sister is not as religious as me. I'm not as religious as her. My brother isn't. And so you have different degrees of faith, and and I believe it's a continuous journey. I do see where you're coming from. I do not believe that was my case, at least.
And I was going to say that. You seems like you came from a great family that gave you opportunity and options. And that's the best thing to do. And I agree. I have friends that have been forced. You had to do this. You have to believe this, and that's where the problems, right?
Yeah.
Because they're using their religion as a phone, and they're throwing it at people.
Yeah, when you can't, and I say that to more adults than I do to kids, because I feel like I hold adults responsible for that. When your faith can be shaken by a couple of questions from a stranger, is it that strong?
Yeah.
Do you know what you believe in truly? Can you confidently say, I know it doesn't make sense to you, but this is what I believe in. These are the answers I have. They may not satisfy you, but they satisfy my thirst.
Yeah.
And I am confident with that. I struggled with being confident in what I believe in, and I feel like I reached a point where my understanding of my religion was enough for me to stand in front of people, and whenever somebody would ask me a question, I'd be like, I have the answer that satisfies my thirst when I had that question.
I love how you say that. I have the answer that satisfies my needs, my thirst, whatever.
Yeah,
it's so important to say that.
Yeah, when I provided that answer to you, if it doesn't make sense to you, if you can't see it or understand it the way I do, I'm not expecting that of you. But I'm expecting you to respect that this is where I.
The biggest value I got out of meeting you, and Sarah Cluett to some degree too, is that I can ask you the tougher questions without malice, without vindication of vindictiveness or anything like that. It's out of curiosity and understanding, and that's all I ever really ask, because of my own curiosity and that sort of thing. And I think that's very noble, very important to me that you can confidently ask or be asked those questions and not feel threatened about it, because that's where that and I'm sure
when I came here and I was a bit younger than this, I was a minority for the first time. For the first time I felt like I was a minority somewhere, and I got many questions, and then I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, you kind of get used to the microaggressions, and you can filter the questions that come from pointing fingers and ignorance, or those that are actually curious. They just don't know how to word it. And honestly,
I just wanted to point out that ignorance is a word that has a stigma to it.
Yeah.
Ignorance is not a bad thing.
No.
It's about being uneducated.
Yeah.
And it just comes off a lot of times that where people use certain words.
I really want to emphasize another point when it comes to that, is that people are not your personal encyclopedias. They don't own you, you. Sorry, they don't owe you any answers.
You don't owe them anything,
exactly.
and it goes all around.
Exactly.
But
I being in Camrose and seeing the community and all of that, I really just I was like, you know what? Since I started learning about my religion, and clearly with me wearing the hijab, whether I like it or not, I am representing hijabi women at that point, Muslim hijabi women, to anybody who's looking. And so I think I felt that responsibility of, many of the people I'm meeting here, they're meeting a Muslim woman for the first time. That's not the case when I go to Edmonton. That's not the case when I go to Toronto. That's not the case when I go to Calgary or anywhere else. Yeah. It's just in this space that I am in right now, I might be the first they're meeting. And so that representation needs to be confident. It needs to be reassuring. And it needs to be truthful as well. I mean, you can meet another hijabi woman who's had a very different upbringing and a very different story and journey with Islam. But I'm giving you mine, and I'll give you a disclaimer of do not generalize. This is... And so at that point, when somebody wants to generalize, it is on them, and I'm not... Nobody else is there.
Danielle.
Their encyclopedia.
It's important.
I'm sorry.
It's all important.
Sorry.
So it's just, it's just that.
We had.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, because that's the big pet peeve when people generalize or make blanket statements, and that sort of thing. And that is whatever. It's about the hair thing.
Sometimes I do that just to annoy you, Mike.
And that's fine, because if I know you do it to annoy me, then it's in the back of my head, and I go whatever. So I know Rama. What's your last name again? We've had a great talk here. Rama and Danielle and I, and perhaps maybe somebody else, we need to have a discussion about hair, because some people are making blanket generalizing statements about hair.
Hair is important
To some people. Then
Also, female compared to male, as we know. Production.
yeah.
On one side, not understanding where
You think it's because I'm a male?
I think so.
I think so.
I don't think so. I think it's because
I grew up against him. Is that
no? I have a friend that has a daughter that has alopecia.
Yeah.
I have a son that has alopecia. It has nothing to do with gender for me.
But the spirituality with the hair is very different with females.
I think it's person to person. I mean, again, this is our lead-in, our future episode, but I think spirituality is gonna be different for everybody, and everybody's gonna have a different perspective. And we could say that, if we want to go general, like men are stronger than women. That's a very general blanket statement, but I know some really tough, badass women that are very strong. So we don't want to play on that 1%. So are you saying that men are less spiritual than women? Don't answer that. That'll be answered on another day. Do you think men are less spiritual on hair because of women? I know some very vain men, but we won't answer that today. So, I do want to leave
right now, but
I do want to leave that for people to think about. Throw some comments on that. That's a great way to. What do you think about hair? Now, I think anything could be valuable if you make it valuable for yourself. And it's important that we respect the value you have for that object, whether it be hair, lack of hair.
I'll give you 2 points to think about.
Okay, give us some
outside of the very general, cover your hair, not cover your hair. Was it the Victorian age? I'm not sure, but where married women can put their hair down, but unmarried women can't. That's number 1. And number 2, growing your hair as a man, also around the same era and age, and also Sikh men.
I wanted to catch on that earlier, but we...
there are a lot of doors when it comes to hair, whether that was historical, cultural, traditional, or religious.
Or just plain vain.
Whatever it was.
I know a couple. Shit, I forgot his name. The guy that's on all the novels. Fabio. I know several Fabios growing up. My God, they put more product in their hair.
In films where a character, whether that was, regardless of the gender, where they have a turning point and they shave all of their hair. Yeah. What is that about? What does it say? So
I got answers.
Yeah. So I think take it and think a little bit, expand on that outside of a scarf or not a scarf. Okay. Or cutting your hair and not cutting your hair.
So let's leave everybody with that. I want you to think about what values hair and other things that are comparable to that have. What's it mean to you, and what can that value have? Rama, what are your final thoughts on the day?
On the day?
Anything that you want to say to get out there to tell people?
Keep an open mind when it comes to whatever it is that we're talking about, or when you see the news, be critical. That's number 1. Keep an open mind. And we got rid of the dictatorship in Syria a couple of days ago.
Oh!
Did we?
We did.
Yay?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's good. So
it's good, but we're being hopeful. We don't know what's gonna happen in the next couple of months or even years. But congratulations to the Syrian people.
Yeah.
And we remember all those who were tortured and were detained unlawfully, and this is a good thing, and it's a good first step, and it's a big first step. And we're all just hopeful at that point, and hopefully we can see a more flourished Syria, a better Syria, gathering everybody together. And soon, I don't know, we can hear good news about it.
No, that's awesome. I think that's great news. I hope we get resolutions in the world for the conflicts that are going on with Russia, Ukraine, Palestine, Israel, all these stuff. I hope we find resolutions or at least places of peace.
Yeah.
We can move on. For me, I hope we can find peace and meaningful engagement with anybody out there that's listening to this, so that maybe we can spread the critical thinking mind, to be aware, to be open-minded, the same things.
And can I
ask questions?
Ask questions and one last thing. When it comes to being critical,